Hey y'all, welcome back to MovementLink. So I want to take a little bit of time and talk about the second pull of the snatch. We've got videos on the whole snatch, and just to put it into perspective, we've got the setup position of the snatch, we've got the first pull, which sets up the second pull, and that's what this video is going to be about. The second pull, which is using our jumping pattern to drive to get maximal velocity on the bar. Then as soon as the bar starts going up, we're into our third pull, and the third pull doesn't pull the bar up. We pull on the bar, and it's like a gymnastics move as we pull ourselves around and press around it to go get it. Then we have the receiving position, and then we stand up. So what we're gonna spend time doing is we're gonna talk about the second pull today. So the priority and really the whole setup in the first pull is all about setting up the second pull, and this is where the power, this is where the magic happens right here. So what we want to do is we're trying to maximize bar speed at the top. So that way when you are done lifting it and you're going to pull and press around the bar, you have maximal lift on the bar. So the priority is get that bar moving as fast as possible at the end, that triple extension position. That means ankles, knees, butt, all the way extended up. We're slightly behind that bar in a position that looks a lot like kipping in that arch position. So we see these positions show up all the time. So the way to maximize speed at that position is by using our jumping pattern. So this is something we see show up all the time. So once I get the bar here, now I'm going to drive the knees forward, keeping the weight even, and then I'm going to drive and get maximal power up on that bar. So that's what the second pull is. So we set up, the first pull sets us up for the second pull, and the second pull is almost like a kettlebell swing. It's just like a jump. We're using the same pattern, trying to get that bar moving up. So I'm gonna come up off the ground, and I'm gonna pause where that second pull starts right here, and what you'll notice is as I go, what you're gonna notice is that bar, as I start to jump, the bar comes up, it meets my hip, it stays with my hip as I launch it up in the air. Then when I launch it up, it goes up, and then that's when immediately, next frame, I'm trying to pull myself down and around it. So this is where the grip and the setup is so important, because if as we're coming up, we dump the shoulders forward, or if we're just gripping the bar wrong, we're not gonna have the best leverage possible up here. So if I take a grip that's too narrow, now when I come up to go, you can see it's never gonna find that best leveraged position. The further I can get the bar into me, the more leverage I'm gonna have on it. The best place for that is that hip crease. So a lot of people mistake the bar coming to the hip, and they try and make the bar go to the hip. But this is something that just happens if we're doing everything, getting the timing right. So what I mean by that is what we see when people start focusing too much on bar going into the hip, is we see people come up and then they pull it into the hip, okay? But notice what I'm doing here. As I come up, I'm pulling the bar in, and then when I start to jump, it goes into the hip, and then I launch it up in the air. So you can feel the bar hit nicely, and it kind of stays there as we kind of launch it up in the air, but it's not something you're trying to do. I know that kind of sounds weird. You're just trying to pull it in, and if we time the jump and everything correctly, it's gonna go flying up. Every now and then people get real worried about going into the hip because you have your pubic bone here. So if we jump a little too early, we come up and we jump a little too early, the bar can hit that pubic bone and it hurts. This happens to people more in WODs and in metabolic conditioning, where we're doing a bunch of barbell snatches, than it does in the heavier stuff. It's a little easier to get the timing. But it is something to keep in mind that if you smack yourself hard in that pubic bone, that's not what it's supposed to happen. So don't mistake that with getting it into the hip. We don't need you to just get smacked every time for this to be a good lift. So it should fit nicely, and it shouldn't hurt at all. The leverage that you feel in there, you can really feel the power into the barbell. So the best place to really start and see what that feels like is just to stand up with the bar and then bend over with the bar in your hip crease and then almost do like kettlebell swings with it. Keep it here, so notice I relax, it comes here. So I gotta pull that in, then we're just gonna drive it. And you can really feel the power there. Then if I get into my jumping position, it comes out a little bit. As I start to jump, it finds it as I launch it. So, moral of the story here, second pull is all about finding that jumping position. It starts in the jumping position, using our jumping pattern all the way up, finishing in that arch. This is where we get the power. This is where the magic happens. We have to set it up with the correct setup, correct first pull. We gotta be patient, and then when we get here, we gotta stay engaged with those lats, and if we don't, that bar is gonna come out in front of us. So we're just holding the bar in tight, trying to get that launch. That's what we're looking for. But everything links back to the squat, the push-up, and the jump. And on this one, it's all about creating that jumping position, using that jumping pattern to get power into the bar. That way we're moving the bar efficiently, but also that way all the techniques and power we're developing here actually transfer out into the real world. Hope that helps. Talk to y'all soon.